I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Lyle, and he's got some beautiful paintings of boats, and he's just ready to start the art fair here. And why don't you tell me a little bit about where you're from and your inspiration?
Okay, my studio is in California. I am from Mexico City, but we working very hard every weekend in different place. My inspiration is Florida, San Francisco, and close to the Lake Michigan.
So are you an avid boater yourself?
Okay.
Long ago.
Long ago.
Yes.
So how do you like sit out by the water, or are these just from your imagination, these images?
This is the real place, but it's interpretation. It's not exactly what I see, it's more emotion.
Can you talk about your painting technique? Like everything looks very textured, like you can feel the paintings.
Yeah, the technique is a palette knife. Acrylic painting applied with a palette knife, and it's very expressive, impressionistic. That is the name of the expressive work.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of Bob Ross, but he always painted with a palette knife. He was on PBS. He did a lot of paintings like that. It's very beautiful. And what about the colors? How are you making these colors?
The color is, we like to mix the colors on the canvas. We don't mix it with the palette. We put the color over and we touch it with a palette knife. When I find the right color, I leave.
Wow. So it's just you're just layering it, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, and is it always like large scale like this? Or are you doing big stuff all the time?
We make different sizes, but we love to paint big. Big is more inspiration, and we can express more ourselves in a big size canvas.
All right. So why don't you just tell people maybe why they should come check out your booth at the Ann Arbor Art Fair?
We inviting people to come to the fair because it's very enjoyable, and you will find a very different artwork with many different artists, and you can find your special color, your special need, and more important, your saw. Inside, you have to see out and see what catch you to get inside yourself.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you for coming.
Stay tuned for more Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Courtney Peterson, and she's got some lovely jewelry, and she's got a great story behind it. So, Courtney, why don't you tell us a little bit? You talked about you sell history, and you were a history teacher before this?
Right. I taught history to high school students, and so I basically was selling American history to kids who were kind of maybe interested. So now what I'm doing is I'm designing and making jewelry with my husband, and we're actually selling something that people desire. So it works.
So you and your husband live on a farm?
We do. I'm from New Orleans, Lee's from Connecticut. We ended up buying a farm west of Philadelphia, equidistant Philadelphia and Baltimore. And it's an 1820 farmhouse. It was a mess. It's now a beautiful farm. Actually, it's being judged in a statewide contest this weekend while we're not here.
Oh, that's too bad.
Not there. Yeah.
So when you were teaching history, were you making jewelry at that time too, or did this happen after the fact?
Toward the end of it, I was. My sister was the artist. I donated a kidney to her. I became like, I don't want to work for anybody again. So I kind of did this more and more. Now it's what we do.
Why don't you tell me about your inspiration for your jewelry pieces? They're lovely.
Well, basically, my husband does Peterson Field Guides, which is a bird plant series telling you what is what. And so something like this, we are doing, basically, this is a fern, but as I say to a friend, no ferns die for this. So they're cut out like paper dolls, chiseled, engraved, soldered, tumbled 3 days, and hand polished.
Wow. So you do that the whole process is done by you?
The little ones we've gotten cast, like the birds of peace. Once I make the model in metal, then I've got a casting company who will I can call and say I want 12.
Yeah.
So that makes it to work. We do have a lot of things. We really don't play the, quote, art game in the normal way. So we're happy to kind of stand behind the booth and talk about dogs.
Yeah. Well, I see you have a lot of them over there, so.
We do.
Well, and you talked about, before we started rolling, you were talking a little bit about how you like stuff to lay on the body.
Right. I like things you can use lots of ways in terms of being flexible. The thumb. Let me see your thumb. You like things your way. This is a more flexible thumb. But I like things that you can wear as a pin or you can hang it on a chain. So most of our pieces will do that.
And you also will listen to the consumer a little bit, and if they want something smaller or bigger, you will accommodate that.
Right. If you were making something this big and this tiny woman comes up, I'm happy to make it her scale. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more like the old flexible selling history, So we are, it's what we do, and we're always doing new things. We're now doing a lot more stones because for 40 years we've been collecting stones. Mm-hmm. So you'll see now there are more stones worked into pieces. So all this in the cases, those are all 14 karat gold and silver. Up here, this is what we started with, which is basically, it was sterling and brass, it's now sterling and a heavy gold plating. So we've kind of moved with the times. Mm-hmm. I basically could be kneeling on the ground in India pounding out jewelry the way I started.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot.
Well, I think that's the way any sort of medium works. You kind of got to evolve with it. Do you have a favorite piece or subject matter that you've worked with?
Well, insects, believe it or not. I love insects. Dragonflies have been our best sellers as long as we've been doing it. But this little baby, this is something called a stiplopid. It's a parasite on wasps, but it had really cute wings and really cute antennae. So I like insects.
And before we go, do you have an online presence at all where people can find you?
It's CourtneyDesign.com.
All right, perfect. And why should people come head out to your booth at the Ann Arbor Art Fair?
Because it's not going to be the normal stuff you see everywhere. I mean, how many people have cockroach pins?
All right, well, thank you, Courtney.
Right, thank you.
Stay tuned for more for Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Philippe, and he's got, as he said, I quote, the most colorful booth around. And it is very true. So why don't you tell us about your colors?
Okay, it's a technique, it's watercolor, nothing to do with batik. Batik, they use wax and chemicals. Everything here start white, and I draw it and paint it one by one. Only original in my work, 25 years here in the guild in Ann Arbor.
Really? So have you been doing the same like sort of fabric work for 25
my
years?
design pretty much every 1 or 2 years, but yes, they're all my own design from scratch.
So it looks like you have a lot of animals and stuff. What's behind that? Are you a big animal lover?
I love animals, but I love kids, and I know kids love animals, so this is the way for them to be attracted in my booth. I don't have kids, but they love my work, so it's fun for them.
Do you find that a lot of kids end up with these pillows in their bedrooms?
I see now their parents coming and stop by and say, hey, I remember when I was a kid, and they buy pillows or lampshade or ties for their kids.
Yeah, amazing.
So, yeah.
I see there's a lot of cats. I'm a big cat person. Are you?
Not really, but
No.
they're very good sellers. So, I'm a dog. I love cats, but people see my cats in their cats. It's very hard to do dogs. So many people want their own breed, and I cannot do that. I don't have time to do this.
And you have the lampshades. Is that a different? Do you have to do anything different when you're doing a different sort of material?
No, everything starts. Hold on. Everything starts. I teach class in Palm Beach. Everything starts white, and I draw it and paint it one by one. So this is it's steam, meaning at the end we can use it, abuse it. You unzip it, you wash it. The shade, I make my own shade as well. Mm-hmm. So they could be outside on the porch, and of course the night, it's like, the stained glass.
Let me feel this. So this is pretty
Pure
soft.
silk. Everything is silk.
Yes, it's beautiful.
See, the Queen of England sleep on silk, so maybe the Queen of Ann Arbor can sleep on silk.
So what kind of paint is this that you're using that it's not making the surface hard?
But it's a special paint for silk from France. Mm-hmm. This is a resist. It comes in different colors. If I don't do the line nicely by hand, the paint will go through. Between the lines, you do whatever you want. After that, you do the background. And the last step, it doesn't show here, but I steam it. This one is 20 years old. And after that, you can use it, abuse it, no problem.
Yeah, so they're built to last.
They are made to be used and abused.
Yes, nice. So do you have a website or anything people
No,
can
no,
go
no. I'm just one little guy, soon to be retired. I had a great life, so no competition. I'm not the best, but I'm the only one.
to? Well, I hope you have a great retirement, and I think it's well deserved. Thank you
very
so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Stay tuned for more from the art fair. I'm Dana Den Hon. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Brooks Lyle, and she's actually sitting here creating art while the art fair is happening. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing and the technique that you use?
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually creating another London skyline. Need to get one more extra so that people coming can get and have it so that I can have it. And then what I usually do is I make people's names right on the spot. So you come and say, I want my name, and you write it down in my book, and then I make it up for you for as little as $10.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're actually getting personalized art fair pieces at the art fair.
Exactly.
So right now, are you just like looking at this to get an idea of what you need to do exactly?
Exactly, because when they're mounted, I have them 100% ready to be mounted, but I also have them so that you can buy them unmounted. Some people just want to have them simply so that you can hang them up on the wall without the word, the city name, and so I make them multiple ways so that you have different price points.
And then what kind of wire or metal that are you using for this?
This is an aluminum metal. It never rusts or tarnishes, and it's really flexible. It allows people to sit it on a table, lay flat, hang it on a wall. Lots of different uses.
And how exactly are you doing it? You just have like your little tool, and that's all that it takes?
My hands and my pliers.
Wow.
That's all that I use.
You have some other pieces around here too. So what other sort of metal works are you creating, and what's your technique for those?
So that's actually all of my dad's work. All of the recycled pieces is different things that he's found. So he goes to scrapyards, he goes to auctions, he goes to all these different pieces. This right here is telephone wire and then a children's school chair leg. So it's all different recycled metal. My dad has been doing this for over 30 years. I grew up in the business doing this with him. We have flowers that will never die. So the Michigan winters can't kill them.
So it's all in the family. You basically learned to be a metal artist from your father.
Correct.
Wow.
We
So
work together. I just do the wire work. That's kind of my niche of it, but my dad does all the recycled metal. He's the one who's got all of this started. So
how did you come up with the idea to do these sort of individualized metal pieces?
somebody came up and asked us. I was 13 years old, and we were doing a show. We had this wire. My dad was making faces out of it because it's a lot easier to bend this than re-rod. So he was making practice faces out of the wire, and they came up and said, oh, we saw this somewhere, and we said, could you make a name? And I was 13 years old. I didn't want to be there. I said, no, I don't want to do it. And he said, oh, you can do it and you'll get paid for it. I said, oh, okay, I'll do it. So,
And you've been doing it ever since?
16 years later, I'm still here doing it.
Well, it's not a bad life to be an artist, is it?
It's not easy, but I absolutely love it. It's a very big blessing that I can be with my parents and that we can all do the show together.
And do you have a website or anything people can go to?
We do. It's Lyle's Labors, LYALLS.com.
And why should people come to your booth at the art fair?
Well, we can make any word or name right on the spot, but we also have lots of recycled metal, and all of our price points are under $100. So it allows everybody to have some artwork. It's affordable artwork that we make for everybody.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fairs. I'm Dana Den Hon. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Al Hubbard, and he's got some interesting instruments here at the art fair, right?
I do, for the music lover. I'm musically inclined. I love music. I play music. I enjoy music. I think everybody internationally loves music.
I would agree with that. So I'm guessing you played music first, and then you kind of went to creating artwork based on
Well,
music?
actually, I was an artist first. Then I started playing the saxophone. And I just fell in love with music. And all of a sudden, I transitioned into doing music. I started out doing other kinds of art previously, but the evolutionary process took me into music, and I'm stuck in music. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing pieces? Because your pieces are definitely have a sort of theme to them, and they all have the same sort of feel. Like, is it glass?
No, it's not glass. Actually, it looks heavy. It looks like glass. It's because it's wood with a resin finish on it, and they're very light. My art can be hung inside or outside. You can hang it in an alcove or overhang, and you wash it with soap and water or a Windex. And the thing about these, they're all one-of-a-kind originals. I never have done for 50 years two alike.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's all one of a kind. So whenever you get a piece of my art, you don't have to worry about your friend coming in your house and saying, I got one like it, because none exists like it. So it's very unique in that regard. And it's very unique because you'll never see anything that's like it.
So obviously music is an inspiration to you. So do you listen to certain kinds of music and then you get a different kind of piece, or?
No, I just combine the instruments that play the music. And essentially that's where I start and that's where I end. I start with an idea, I end with a product. And sometimes the idea doesn't always congruent with the product, but they come out beautifully. Yeah.
So you're not really sketching, it's more like in your head what you're...
I'll go with a sketch, but the sketch, when I finish it, it's only a prelude to what's going to happen. It has some ideas, but it's not a full-blown finished idea. Because a real artist starts on a piece of work, he doesn't start it to finish it. He starts it to engage the process, because you get ideas, you get new ideas as you go about your business, and you'll change this or you'll add this and that sort of thing. So, and a lot of times, some of our best work comes from the mistakes that we made. We can take a mistake and glorify it. So it's the beginning process and the completion process can be together, but most of the time they are divorced. Yeah, quite divorced.
Are all of your pieces, or the majority of them, you're working in this three-dimensional?
I do all my work in 3D mixed media. Yeah, I started off doing 2D mixed media, and I evolved into 3D mixed media. And I enjoy that because it gives it depth. It gives it dimension, it depth, and it also projects some of the things that you want it to be projected. 3D is just my favorite form of art. It's exciting, really exciting.
Do you have a website people can go to?
It's alhubbardart.com. They can go to that website, they can see all of my work, and I also do commission work. I also ship anywhere. So you don't have an excuse for not buying my art. Everybody that's attracted to my art deserves a piece of my art. Art is a soul toucher, and when people love something and they see it and they want it, it's because it's telling them a story, or it's enhancing a story. So I tell people all the time, don't worry about the money. Think about how you're going to feel 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Every time you look at that piece of art, it's going to tell a story. And that's the good thing about good art. It has a story to tell you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Al, for enlightening us.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoy it. Y'all have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Den Hon. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Simon and Joy, and we're in like a kid's wonderland in here. So do you guys have children of your own? Is this what kind of...
Never had time, I don't think.
Oh, really? So what kind of attracted you to making these sort of puzzles and different things that would obviously be for children?
Well, our story starts right back when I fell off a bicycle and broke my knee and my leg in a few different places. And when I was recovering, they put a screw through my knee to put it all back together. And my husband's father had made him a little dancing doll when he was a child. So he thought of that because of the screws through the knee. So he made a little dancing doll while I was in hospital so that we could dance it for the children's ward. And so in recovery, we went to Europe. We met an Austrian toy maker who worked in his house, in his basement. He took us for a tour, and we just loved it.
So he mentioned about the Nuremberg Toy Festival,
yes,
so he went to Nuremberg.
Went there too.
That's what did it, because we looked at the mom and pop people, and we says,
we loved it. So we came back to the States, bought a handyman special for a house, and spent all the rest of our money that we were going to spend on our tour on machinery and tools, and got to work, didn't we?
and that was about 42 years later.
That was 42 years
Whoa.
ago.
So
Yes.
you've been doing this for a long time now.
Yeah.
And this is your living. You don't have this.
This is all we do, hours and hours.
So what kind of tools are you using, and what's the process to create something?
Well, we use a lot of machinery from the raw wood. We plane it. I know this
shape
often.
it, yeah.
Shape it, and then we bring it into our workshop. We use scroll saws, band saws, sand, all different kinds of sanding. It depends on what it is and what we have to do. And then all the toys are hand painted, detail hand painted by hand. So it's all a lot of handling. Yes, very lot.
Can you talk about some of the different pieces we'll see? Because you have some stuff hanging, you got some puzzles, and
These are yo-yos. You wind them up, and they oh, it's very crooked. That's not a good one to show. I don't know why that's so crooked.
Here, you can show another one if you want.
Yeah, it's caught around there. I'll show another one. Maybe this one.
Yeah, you have to go all the way up.
Yeah. So that they yo-yo up and down. So it's very amusing for a small child.
And on the table here we got these. This one here we call it our walker.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun one.
No batteries.
One single dancing doll to show you.
Yeah.
Because we make a lot of different kinds of puzzles. My husband laminates all this wood to make the width so they're lovely and strong. And yeah, little cars and trucks, and we make puzzle top stools.
Personalized jigsaw puzzle, which is a good seller for us.
Yes. And these are all puzzles in the top, so a child can have a theme in their room. So yeah, this is what we do.
Keep busy year round. Yeah.
I find a lot of the names these days are so different. Do you have to keep on track of like what are popular names?
It's word of mouth really,
Yeah.
and we just keep adding and adding to the point where we have no room to put them. So we try to carry a lot of special names, but we do make a lot to order too.
Yeah. Do you have a website people can go to?
No, we just do it by phone and business card. Yes.
Do you want to give the phone number out?
Yes, our phone number is 989-624-6162. So we can help you with that. Yes.
All right. Yeah. If you want one of these beautiful handmade pieces, then call the number. And do you want to tell people why they should come out to your booth this year at the art fair?
Oh, because our toys are very special, and they're all handmade individually by my husband and I. There are no other workers involved, just us. Yes.
Thank you both.
Well, thank you for interviewing us. Yeah.
It's nice to see you.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Den Hon. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Russ Erickson, and he's had a very busy booth here today. Is that right, Russ?
I have. It's been busy before I even opened up today.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your artwork? And it looks very, like, are you making your own paper? Is
I
it?
make my own papers. I start by making my background papers. It's cotton and oriental silk. These colors I pour in, and then I start to pellet knife in batch after batch of dyed silk and cotton pulp. Press it out into a sheet, and then my painting work is done over that. It's watercolors, inks, and acrylics.
Wow, how long does it take you to do something like that?
The big pieces work about 2 months because there's so many batches, but I'm working on different colors at different times too.
Wow, that's amazing. They're so different from anything I've seen. I mean, I can tell you're creating your own paper, but that sort of texture where it comes out is just so...
Well, the dimension's great. When you get them home and you have light hitting it, natural light or a lit light, they really pop. I've been doing a whole bunch of home parades where they're actually lighting them and dimming the lights in the room, and all you see are the petal of the flowers or the figures.
Oh, so you're thinking about it in many different aspects as you're doing it.
I am. I want the dimension. I also want the art to come into the mat. So on all my pieces, the petals, the figures, the leaves, they all go over the mat as part of the artwork.
Is nature typically your inspiration then?
It is, and I do a lot of figural pieces too, but they're just more impressionistic. All my work is considered contemporary impressionistic.
Okay. And so are you looking outside your window for this, or is it just coming from your head?
I'm lucky enough that I can actually click on images and save them, so I'm able to get the detail from it and recall it. So it works very well, but I'm also a great fan of gardening and doing stuff like that, so I know all the plants and the flowers, the trees. I hike, so...
Yeah, so you're familiar with it either way.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you want to tell people why they should come out to your booth at the art fair?
My work is different. You've probably never seen it before. I've been exhibiting now 35 years, so I have a bit of a following. But the fair, it's a great venue to come and see all different types of art. Even if you just want to come out and experience it, that's great. Kids come out, the schools are here, they're learning. I'll be demonstrating later on. I'll have samples that the kids and adults want to touch. That's great because it looks light and fluffy, but it's not. It's hard, so it dries like a clay. So it's a great experience out here.
Do you have a website people can go to?
I do. It's ericksonstudios.com.
All right, thank you, Russ.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good art fair. Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Mike Mayock, and I think a lot of kids might be interested in your artwork because you got a lot of superheroes around here.
Yeah, big kids too. It's sort of definitely brings in the kids and their parents, and the parents who like it as well. And so I get that range for sure.
What is it? Are you a big fan of this whole superhero culture?
Yeah. I came from a comic book illustration background, and I do a lot of comic book conventions too. And so, yeah, I'm just a big fan of the, I guess it's really, what it comes down to is nostalgia. Mm-hmm. And so it's just sort of what these invoke in a way, so.
So what are you doing? Are you getting inspiration from things that already exist, but then kind of putting your own spin? Because I feel like that's Norman Reedus from Walking Dead right there.
Yeah. It's taking what's imitating pop culture and emulating in a different way. It's sort of my style is sort of combining impressionism with a sort of graffiti impasto with that comic book feel, so.
Why don't you talk about your process and how one of these things comes about, and then are you making reproductions of them?
Yeah, a lot of what you have here is just, I do canvas prints. I work large scale, and it's hard to do that at a price that, you can sell. Mm-hmm. So I rely on prints a lot. I'll do a sketch, and then I'll figure out the composition. Then work it up to a larger scale, like 45 by 15 usually, and I'll do a painting and sort of work out the kinks. Because the drawing isn't the same thing as painting, so you just sort of have to figure that out as you go. So.
I think one of the big pieces that sticks out since we are in Ann Arbor is the downtown cityscape you got over.
Yeah, I did that one last year. Like I mentioned before, I'm totally pandering to the local crowd, and if I plan it properly enough, I try to have something for the local area where I come to. Sometimes it's harder than it seems, just finding that block of time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're busy getting ready for the art fair, and then you're actually creating a piece while you're here.
Yeah, it's really risky too, because if you don't sell it here, you're not gonna sell it really anywhere else. So.
But it's also really smart marketing.
Yeah. It just brings people in, and last year that one thing I sold a third of my sales with just that one, so it worked.
So you're selling here.
Yeah, it did really well last year. Last year they asked me to do the poster for this section of the show, and that also was really nice. A lot of people came by and I signed a poster for them. So
awesome. Do you have a website?
Yeah, it's just Mayock.com, just my name, Maydak.com, and it's my website. You find all the links to everything from there.
Why should people come visit you at this year's Ann Arbor Art Fair?
Why should they?
Why shouldn't they is the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here. You got 4 days to come down here. Save shipping, right?
Yeah, for sure. Great. That's a great idea.
And you get to see it in firsthand. So.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here living in the lap of luxury with Victor Edwards. This is one of the most comfortable seats I've ever been in, Victor.
Well, thank you.
So why don't you talk a little bit about how you got into the rope game?
Sure. Not tying, I get interested from Boy Scouts, but I have been doing this since college. I went to Florida State, and I started doing art shows my senior year. And what I'm doing here, these are mahogany frames, which is a boat wood, and I'm tying all the knots with large hooks, and the fiber is olefin, which is waterproof, color fast, no mildew. So I'm making outdoor furniture.
Have you always been making functional pieces like this, or has it kind of evolved over time?
My first year here was 1976, and I started displaying my rockers and hammocks. And over the years, my designs grew. Now I'm doing all kinds of double swings, tables, bar stools, besides the hammocks and rockers.
When you were going to Florida State, were you an art major? Or?
I have an art degree and a marketing degree. Now, this was in the early 70s during the Vietnam War, so I was able to stay in school, stay in phase. I didn't get drafted, so this helps me stay out of the Vietnam War.
Do you have any pieces that you find are just like your biggest sellers? I can't imagine this piece wouldn't, it'd feel like it'd be flying off the shelf.
This one is one of my most popular. Everybody thinks of a double swing, but then I have couples that want to swing at their own pace, so I also do the single version of this that they can hang side by side.
And so are your pieces for indoor and outdoor?
Yeah, probably a quarter of what I sell go inside, and that's why I do such a nice finish on the wood. But what I'm using is a marine teak oil for wood on boats, so they are weather resistant outside. I just ask if the customer will oil the frame once a year if it's in full exposure, on a porch every other year. But I have customers in Ann Arbor that are still using their swings after 30 years.
Do you have a sailing background? Is that why you're into the whole
We do sail.
Yeah.
Not as much as we used to because we work all the time.
All right, do you have a website people can go to?
Oakenrope.com or mahoganyandrope.com. They both go to the same site.
All right, well, thank you so much. And this is my first seat I've had at the art fair, and it was a great
You'll
one.
have to come back.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Emily Lavalier, like the microphone. We're not using one today, but similar enough. So you have your mixed media collages here at the Art Fair. Can you tell me about your background as an artist and kind of how you've gotten to this point to be a mixed media artist?
Yeah, I was a card maker, so I would make greeting cards for my friends when they got married. I worked as a travel agent, I worked as a case manager, so card making was always kind of my thing. And 4 years ago, I kind of decided to put them in frames, and they've gotten way bigger over the last 4 years, and it kind of ended with this. So it's high density collage, so it's old recycled Goodwill books, magazines, and then string, beads, whatever I can find.
So are you the one of your friends that's like, hey, give me all your old magazines?
Yes, and I have so many bookshelves covering my apartment. It's I had to move to a bigger apartment in the suburbs just to hoard our magazines.
How long does one of these pieces, let's say just a medium-sized one, take you to make?
75 to 100 hours usually for each one.
You mentioned you had day jobs before. You don't have a day job anymore?
I actually do. I just don't have a social life at all. I come home at night, and I usually work on a piece for 2 months, and then I'll often have multiple pieces going at one time too. So each piece is kind of lots of pieces added in layers and layers, and so sometimes I'll think a piece is done, and then I look at it and I'm like, oh, it just needs one little bead up there, and then I add it and it's like, oh, okay, now it's done. So look at them for a long time.
You have a variety of subject matter. Where are your ideas coming from?
Well, I think a lot of it was my travel background. As a travel agent, I started wanting to do a bunch of hotel series, so I've got a couple different hotels. Then actually showing for a year, I realized I'm from Minnesota, Minneapolis, and so people liked Minnesota stuff. So then I made a couple of my Minnesota skylines, and my bike is a kind of diverse city, I don't know, kind of creative take on a Minneapolis scene. So so I have a mix of things from my travel background and also Minnesota and Minneapolis.
Okay. And you did mention you can touch the artwork.
Yes,
you can feel what it feels.
This is one that's out that people can touch to kind of see what I'm doing, see the mini papers, and these are old paper clips kind of cut down. So this is out. People get freaked out about touching it, but they can. That's at this booth.
Do you have a website people can go to?
I do. It's my name's Emily Lavalier. My company is MLav Art. So it's EMLAVART, mlavart.com, and then also on Instagram and Facebook, and so yeah.
Perfect. Why should people come visit you at the Ann Arbor Art Fair?
Well, because my stuff is kind of different. I have art you can touch, and every piece kind of has a lot of hidden, images and kind of hidden things. So, it's definitely worth seeing close up.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. And I'm here with Cheryl Shores, and she looks like a familiar face that people may know.
Yes, I'm a tribute Rosie out of the Yankee Air Museum and Willow Run Airport, where we promote World War II veterans flying. We have an air show, Labor Day weekend. It's a 3-day air show this year. And we also do history lessons to different groups about Rosie the Riveter and all the volunteers and workers that helped during World War II and won the war for us.
I will say I've been to the air show many times, and it is one of the best air shows I've ever been to.
Great, well thank you. You'll see a ton of Rosies there because we volunteer and help there all the time. But we do other functions all over the state helping promote World War II. For instance, the memorial they're trying to get in Royal Oak at the park up there off of Woodward. And we also like to make sure other Rosies come and join us because every so often we have to take back our world record, and we're doing it again this October at Eastern Michigan University.
What is the current world record?
Well, California kind of beat us this last year by only about 100 people, and we had over 2,000 people in 2015 when we took Guinness World Record. Okay. And we're going to be doing it again, so I invite anybody that wants to join the Rosies, go to jointherosies.com and join us on Facebook.
Awesome. If you want to just tell people that may not know the significance of Rosie the Riveter.
Oh, well, for instance, my parents actually met at the Willow Run bomber plant way back. And my mother was a riveter, and my father was training the riveters and before he went off into the Pacific to serve the war there during World War II. These ladies built B-24 bombers at a bomber an hour they assembled at Willow Run, and they put out, and they really contribute that to helping win the war in World War II.
All right, well, thank you so much. And why should people come visit you at this art?
Well, because I have all the information to join the Rosies. They can help donate because we're restoring what's left of the bomber plant to expand the museum, and we would love to their donations and love to join us because we have a lot of fun.
Well, fingers crossed that you get that world record back.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Den Hon. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Olivia and Mel, and they're here for a very good cause, the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital. And you are with U of M Dance Marathon?
Yes. Dance Marathon at the University of Michigan.
Can you explain what that is?
So Dance Marathon at the University of Michigan raises funds and awareness for children with disabilities at access therapies at Mott and Beaumont Children's Hospitals.
And you hold some pretty big events every year. What are some of the things that you're doing out in the community?
Yeah, so during the fall time, we do like a pumpkin carving event with the families that are supported by the therapies. And then later on, we kind of have like a dance, like a kids prom thing in the winter. And then it all leads up to our big event, our 24-hour no sitting event, where it's a culmination of all of the fundraising that we've done throughout the year, where college students, like around 500 plus students, come and hang out in the indoor track and field building. And basically, we stand to support these therapies in solidarity. So it's a great event and we love it, and last year alone we raised over $500,000.
That's amazing. So do you know what that $500,000 is going towards when you raise that sort of money?
Yes, so it's going towards therapies like aquatic fitness, creative coping, bowling therapies, there's top soccer, a lot of non-traditional therapies that insurances don't normally support that we are, all the money goes towards. And these are at both C.S. Mott Children's Hospital and Beaumont Children's Hospital. So it's really awesome.
Do you have to be a student at U of M to be involved with Dance Marathon?
Nope. So our main audience obviously is students, since we are a university. Those are our participants, but we always really appreciate members of the community supporting us. So we have long-time standing donors who support us financially, also support us with their time. One example of those is Underground Printing. They print our t-shirts for us every single year. We also have a lot of support from the University of Michigan Credit Union. So there's lots of people that have supported us throughout our past 20 years at U of M.
And how important it is to get people to donate their money for this cause?
I would say it's extremely important. It is really, we are a fundraising organization. It is not necessarily service-based, so we're really encouraging students to get involved with that fundraising, and they're able to actually work with the kids to encourage them to be kids. So every single dollar really does count. For example, $3 actually would support a single therapy for a child for a session.
So this is to both of you. Do you have any special memories that you've had with any of the kids that are in the program?
Sure. So my very first year at Michigan, I decided to join Dance Marathon at the University of Michigan, and I decided I was going to get paired up with a family, and I was with Emily, and we actually celebrated her 5th birthday with her at Olive Garden, and it was just really the coolest experience. That was her favorite restaurant, and we were able to pay for her dinner with her family, and it was just, I cried afterwards because I really appreciated getting to spend time with her.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite moments was with my kid the first year when I was paired with a family as well. I was with Jackson, and there was this carnival that we had run for the kids, and it was really great because he was going through all these surgeries the semester before, and we were finally able to meet him, and he was very shy at first, but then once he finally met us, he just saw the biggest smile on his face, and I think that's one of the greatest things about this organization is we directly impact, like these kids impact us, and we impact each other. You know, we're empowering these kids, and it's awesome, and it's just a great way to connect college students with these children, and it's a great way to connect the community back to all these therapies.
Awesome. Do you have a website people can go to donate or find out more?
Yes, it is at dmum.org. You can find all your information there about how to get involved, how to donate, and yeah.
All right, thank you for filling us in on this very worthy cause.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Masad again because we did this, 2 years ago together?
Yep.
Yeah. And you are with the American Muslim Society. So can you explain what that is?
Well, the American Muslim Society is a house of worship in Dearborn. It's one of the oldest in North America. It was established in 1938 in the city of Dearborn. And it's been in the same spot ever since. And we have an outreach committee, and we're here to educate people about the religion of Islam. There's a lot of misconceptions, so we try to clear any of those misconceptions with passing out copies of the Quran and giving out free baklava.
As my dad calls it, baklawa, but it's delicious, and I think you should just come for that alone. But you mentioned that there's misconceptions about the Islam religion. Can you name some of the ones that are like the big sort of problems that people might, or issues that people might associate with it?
Well, when people hear the word Islam or Muslim, they always associate Islam and Muslims with the Middle East. And there's 1.7 billion Muslims around the world, and the Arabs only make up about 18 or 20% of the Muslim population. Mm-hmm. And people, when they hear the word Islam, they think about terrorism, and Islam has nothing to do with any of that. So we tried, like I said, we try to give people copies of the Quran and other information to read for themselves, and to understand what Islam really is all about. So that's what we try to do, and try to clear those and talk to people. It's nice for people when they meet the Muslims, when they have these misconceptions about terrorism and the word jihad and Sharia. We have copies of the copy of the brochure for the Sharia. So we want them to understand it themselves from us, from the source itself, instead of listening to other media outlets. Not you guys, but so that's what we try to do.
So obviously you're passionate about your religion. What makes the religion so important for you personally?
Well, the connection with God, the oneness of God for us. We pray 5 times a day, 7 days a week, and that's our connection with God. Mm-hmm. And the Quran is in Arabic, has never been changed or altered. But we're passing out the translation in English, Chinese, German, and French, and Spanish. So we have all those for people, like I said, to understand it and to learn it so they can understand where we come from.
All right, if you could just tell people why they should head out to your booth when they're in the nonprofit area of the Ann Arbor Art Fair.
Well, first for the baklava.
Oh, and you can also fan yourself.
Yeah, fan yourself. We got free fans. We got free pens. We got, like I said, copies of the Quran. And because of my son over here, the young man, Muhammad, he's my sidekick. And just to have fun, we're nice people. We're just great, human beings, just like themselves.
I agree. And you know what? You remembered me from 2 years ago. You called me over here. And it's a pleasure to have someone. I've seen other people that I've interviewed, and you're the only person that called me out.
I remember that. It's nice seeing you. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Ty McClendon, and we were walking by, and these pieces really jump out at you as you're walking by the art fair.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
They're very bright and beautiful. Can you kind of tell me your inspiration for wanting?
It's a tarnish. I'm sorry. It's a tarnish-resistant wire. It's like basket weaving, drawing, and the building of clay. Only I use this special wire. When I say tarnish-resistant, mean it would never change colors. It won't rust, water, nothing to change it. It'll stay just like you see it. And then it's accented with professional-grade Swarovski crystals. And to create a piece is, like I said, it's like basket weaving, drawing, and the building of clay, accented with the Swarovski crystals.
Can you tell me your background as an artist and kind of how you got to this point?
I've been doing art ever since I was probably 8 years old. I have taught in high school, college. I can paint, draw well, pottery, all of it, but the gift that God gave me is this wire, and this is what I do all my time with, is with the wire.
Is there any other artists out there that's doing this sort of thing, or did you kind of create this yourself?
I don't know. I do a lot of shows. I've sold my work in about 4 other countries other than the United States, and one thing people say, I've never seen it before, so
it's definitely a time original. Why don't you talk about how long it takes to create maybe one of these pieces?
The small pieces is a small head on the other end. It took about maybe 3 weeks. The bigger pieces like the Gibson guitar and Angelina the Angel took over 6-7 months to make.
And where do you kind of get your inspiration for what you're creating? I see some animals, there's music.
You know what? I get my inspiration from my Lord and Savior. God has saved my life at least 6 times. This is a gift He gave me, and this is what I do. I wake up every morning with a smile on my face. I think I have the best job in the world. Working is like my father. He passed away. Working at a steel mill 6 days a week, that's work. This is not work. This is a love and a joy and a pleasure.
I imagine you have to have a pretty big art studio at home.
It's pretty good size.
Yeah.
Pretty good size. Yeah, yeah.
What do you hope to see for the future of your artwork?
What I would like to do is really get going, and we're working on it now, maybe a school or something, working with kids. I think that's what's wrong with our kids. They're very creative. We just got to give them means to use their creativity.
You always hear about the arts being cut in schools and everything.
Absolutely, and that is the dumbest thing you could ever do. Yeah.
I know that when I was a school-age child, art was always my favorite class, so.
Well, it's all about using that imagination.
Yes. Do you have a website where people can find out more?
Yes, I do. It's timewirejury@aol.com.
All right. And why should people come out to your booth at the Ann Arbor Art Fair?
I think you should come because I think you'll see something exciting. I think you'll see something that I feel is a gift, and I would like to share it with other people. So come on out and see me, and I'll be pleasure to talk with you and tell you a little bit about what I do.
All right. Awesome. Great chatting with you.
All right. God bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
Stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Steve and Valerie Dorr.
Yes.
It's just spelled a little bit different.
Yes.
And why don't you tell me a little bit about your artwork here that you're selling at the 2017 fair?
We do wood turnings. We do bowls, pins, hollow forms, platters, pendants, all made from wood.
And a lot of our wood is domestic. Like the necklace that I have on is from the Joplin oak trees that were at the high school when the tornado hit us in Missouri 6 years ago. But then we have exotic wood from Australia as well as South America, etc.
So when you're getting sort of your found local wood, how do you go about getting it?
Our local wood, we have people that will call us and say, hey, we're cutting down a tree. Would you be interested? I have one tree that I call my tree that I've driven by for about 5 years that I've had my eye on. Finally, the guy says, okay, I'm ready to cut it down. You can have it. So we search, but we don't go out and purposely cut down trees just for turning. We'll take what people have. Maybe the power company has cut some down, and we'll get it that way.
So what is the purpose of getting some sort of exotic woods then?
For color and the variation of the grain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've got like a Purple Heart necklace, and it looks, totally different in color than the rest of them.
So what do you do to the wood once you get it? How are these pieces being created?
We turn them on a lathe. We'll cut them into what we call turning blanks. And then if it's still wet, we'll seal it with paraffin wax to slow down the drying process. And then we'll turn it on a lathe. Do the shaping and everything with the tools that we have, the gouges, and then like some of them, like the red piece over there, We dye that. I dye it black, sand it back, then dye it red, and then put on my high gloss finish and make the finials for them. So.
And then after you can use the paraffin wax to get your hands all soft afterwards.
Got that right.
Except it's a little too hot to do that.
What kind of glaze are you using for wood? Because I've never actually seen, like, that does not look like wood to me, that red piece.
That one has a polyurethane finish on it. Some of my others have a CA finish, which is more commonly referred to as super glue.
Okay.
You know, like the 3 there and then the 3 over there, they have the super glue finish on them.
And my necklaces have like 20 coats of super glue and a lot of sanding.
Oh, I can't imagine. I feel like your fingers would be stuck together all the time.
No, not really. You learn how not to do that. Quickly you learn.
So what got you both interested in using wood as a medium?
I started making furniture back in '85, and I was working full time, and it just took forever, 6 months to a year to finish a project. And then about 12 or 13 years ago, I started looking at wood turnings, and I thought, you know, that looks interesting. And so about 10 years ago, I bought a lathe and started turning, and don't make furniture anymore.
What about you?
I started because I'm going to inherit all the tools and all the wood in the basement, and they're going to be mine, all mine, one of these days. So I'm learning how to use them.
So yours are like the necklaces?
And the natural edge bowls, the ones with the bark on them.
Okay.
That's what I've done.
Okay. And do you guys work together, or are you working separately?
We have our lathes right next to each other, you know, so, you know, she's behind me, and every once in a while, one of us will say, okay, I'm done working because I'm getting shavings all over me, you know.
From the other one.
From the other one, so. But it works out
But we work
pretty well.
most of the time together in the shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a website people can go to?
Yes. www.thewooden, THEWOODEN, DOORR.com.
Do you ever get jokes about your name being Door? Doors are made of wood.
Well,
only when I was teaching.
Yeah.
I can't see through you, Mrs. Door.
Yeah. And the name of our company, so to speak, is The Wooden Door, and she came up with that, you know. So
That's
since-
awesome. It
yeah,
works
so
out perfectly
it
for
does.
you.
Yes, it does.
Why should people visit you at the 2017 Art Fair?
We have very unique turnings, usable, functional, as well as visual art turnings. So,
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm Dana Denhun. This is Art Fair Close-Up 2017. I'm here with Ryan Odick with his Whisker Biscuits. Can you explain what a Whisker Biscuit is?
Well, there are many things that a Whisker Biscuit is. In our case, it happens to be a fantastic, all-natural, human-grade dog treat.
Okay, and are you making these yourself?
We are. There's about 4 of us that make them. It's a small family business, and we start from scratch, all U.S.-sourced ingredients, put them all together, cut them, bake them, and here we are.
So do you have just a huge dog biscuit oven?
We actually have 6 commercial ovens, and it's a relatively small facility, but we can produce a pretty good volume.
And what are some of the ingredients that you'd find in the Whisker Biscuits?
Let's take our chicken pot pie, for example.
Okay.
We use an unbleached whole wheat flour, ground chicken breast, peas, carrots, a little bit of chicken stock, and water, and that's it.
Okay, so what are some of the reactions you've seen from dogs? Are they just gobbling it up?
When dogs smell the real deal, they're absolutely into it. So a lot of times they start eating this stuff and it creates an addiction, and they really can't go back to the other stuff.
Yeah.
So, then we're able to support them online. But we really believe that they can tell the difference.
Have you ever tried a taste test where you maybe bought a regular store-bought one?
We've done that quite a few times, and some of our customers have, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to pick the stuff with the real ingredients in it. Our stuff doesn't sit on a shelf for 10 months. It's baked fresh. It comes to an event, it's gone. We bake new stuff the next week. So.
Do you ever sell at stores or anything like that?
We're a direct-to-consumer. That way we buy it, we bake it, we sell it. It doesn't have to be warehoused, and you're always getting the best stuff that way.
You have some really cute sort of designs and stuff. Is that more for the dog or the person?
Well, when the dog steps up to our pile of peanut butter poo, I don't know that they can discern the difference between that and the real thing. But certainly for the customer, we want to make it interesting. We want to, engage people. We want to have fun with it. Too many people are way too serious in this game. We got the good ingredients, we have the depth, but we also we need to have some fun.
What is maybe your favorite one to make or the best seller?
The best seller is always our world famous Big Sack, only because it's got a little bit of everything that we do in it. So it really kind of brings our whole deal together, and you can take it home, and that way it's a little bit more fun. You know, you can kind of go through them. You get the maple glazed bacon, you get chicken pot pie, you get, you know, our blueberry and oat. So it's a little bit more fun than just taking one or two home. Not quite as exciting that way.
Yeah. I'm going to shed a tear for my poor baby cat who's not going to be able to have any Whisker Biscuits because they're just for dogs.
Well, listen, it is one of the booths that openly discriminates against cats. So, you know, we have tried the cats in the past and, you know, didn't go over so well. So we stick with what we know.
And do you have an online? Obviously, you got to go online to get it. So where do they go?
WhiskerBiscuits.com will take care of all those canine dreams.
All right. And why should people come head out to the art fair to see you?
Awesome art fair, great talent, and you know, we could take care of your dogs today if you stop by and see us.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Rough. Come back to the art fair and see some Whisker Biscuits, and stay tuned for more from the Ann Arbor Art Fair.